Here's right. All right, good morning. We are thrilled to introduce Denzel today as the newest member of the Chicago Bulls. You know, like I talked about on draft night, we think we've got a guy here who A, is a winner, and B, is a warrior. And for us and what we were looking for in the direction that we're headed that we talked about the other day, I just think he checks a lot of boxes. And the first thing is his skilled ability to play basketball. And anybody who's watched him play knows the versatility that he brings to the floor on a nightly basis. But in Denzel, we've got a guy who can shoot it with range and is shown to be a high percentage three-point shooter. And what we really loved was his ability to handle and pass the ball. And as we watched him throughout his career, I talked about the other night, he's such an instinctual player and has got a great feel for the game. And I think how we want to play with our young core, how Fred wants to play, I think it's a perfect fit in regards to his skill level and his basketball IQ, what he brings to the floor. I think he makes a lot of players better because of his ability to create and push in transition, spray the ball ahead, play off pick and roll. Those are all real positives to us. But on top of his basketball ability, and we did a lot of work in regards to his background, spent time on Michigan State's campus, and to hear the people rave about his makeup and character was just incredible. And not only Coach Izzo, who a lot of you have heard talk, but managers, dorm people, trainers, people that had worked with him, everybody just raves about what he brings, A, to the practice floor, B, to the locker room, and what a great teammate he is. So we know that he's been coached very well by Coach Izzo, one of the best coaches in the country. And almost as importantly, we know that he's been coached very hard, and he understands what hard work is about. So when he got here this morning, there's 4 or 5 huge duffel bags. So I think you came to stay. He's moving in tonight. He wants to get on the gym out here in the gym this afternoon and start working. And we want to welcome Denzel to Chicago. All right, you can say a couple words, or they'll start throwing questions at you.
Oh, first off, I just want to say I'm very excited, to be a member of this, Chicago Bulls and this great tradition. Winning matters here. Just everything about, being a Chicago Bull, I like, and that's one of the reasons why, I got so excited on draft nights, because I was coming to an organization like this and the caliber that they represent. So I'm very excited to be a Chicago Bull, and just got excited to get started.
For Fred, where do you envision Denzel playing mostly for you guys, his natural position, and what can he do also maybe as point guard minutes in that regard?
Sure. The thing I'm most excited about with Denzel is his versatility. He's a basketball player. That's the thing in talking to Coach Izzo that he talked about the most, is you can play him all over the court. He's a facilitator. He's an excellent positional rebounder. He can bust out with the ball, and he just gives you the opportunity to play so many ways. He can get into the paint, and he's always going to make the right decision. You look at players at the college level, not many of them on a nightly basis are putting up triple-doubles and are close to triple-doubles, and Denzel did that. And, he's just, again, a well-rounded, versatile basketball player that I think fits perfectly in how we want to play.
Denzel, what's the best piece of advice that you've gotten from one of your NBA friends?
Just really stay true to myself, don't change up. Just keep doing what you're doing, keep working hard, treating everybody, around you, well, and just keep being yourself, really.
Hi. Can you tell me, what was it like growing up being coached by your dad, and what were some of the most important lessons that you learned from him?
It was cool, because he knew me the best. He knew my game. He knew me off the court. He knew everything about me. So he could really, figure me out and figure the team out and put me in the best positions to play. And we had a lot of success at Lansing Sexton. We won 2 state championships, and it was a fun time. And he always, just taught me how to work hard. He's up every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning working out, and he was up this morning even working out whenever we're on the road or anywhere. He's always, hard work and, putting the time in, and you'll get great things out of it.
Fred, there's obviously been a lot of changes to the roster since we last spoke to you publicly. Just your overall thoughts maybe on your one season with Derek and the shape and direction that you see the roster taking and the franchise taking from here on out.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank Derek for the one season that I had with him. Obviously last year I was very unfortunate. I thought he put a lot of work in the summer, and to come out in that first day, 30 minutes into practice and break that bone in his eye was very tough. I think the world of him. I think I made that very obvious last year in talking about Derek. With he was very coachable. And I wish him absolutely nothing but the best. And I do think he's going to have a great season in New York. I'm really excited about the players that we're bringing in this trade. You look at Brook Lopez, a guy that I've always thought very, very highly of, even going back to the draft when I was working in the front office in Minnesota. He's a guy that will run to the rim every time. He's going to set screens, and he's going to be a forceful rim roller, which, I think with Felicio in there last year, we saw the success, that we had with him. And, it gives you the experience factor. 28 years old, still has a lot of great basketball left in him. The thing I'm most excited about is his ability on the defensive end of the floor. I think he's terrific there. You get a kid in Jaren Grant, who's a guy that we all thought very highly of in last year's draft class. He had a great last month of the season, averaging almost 15 points a game in the games in April. Very good in the pick and roll, and again, another young player that can play with pace. And then you bring in Calderon, another guy I've always thought very highly of, a veteran presence, a guy that shot over 40% from the three-point line the last 3 years. So I think we got three very good players in the trade, and I'm excited about coaching them.
Denzel, you've been described as natural, too, by some. Out of the multiple positions that you can play, is there one specific position that you feel most comfortable with or feel that's your favorite position to play on the floor?
Not really. I mean, pretty much anyone, 1 through 3, and guarding 1 through 4. I like, freelancing and, being available to do multiple things, playing multiple positions. So, I can, be versatile in that situation and just try to, make the most of what, the position I'm playing at that time.
Hey, Fred. This is a team that's obviously in transition. And it would appear you're in transition, too, after the first season of coaching. So what did you learn that's going to make your game better as a coach? And the second part of the question is, can you coach Jimmy Butler?
Yeah. Thanks for the question, George. Yes, I can. I'll answer that one first. Absolutely, I can. As far as what do you learn? As coaches, at all levels, the first thing you do is after a season, especially a tough season like this, is to reflect on the year and what you can do differently, what you can do better. We've been watching a lot of film. We've been meeting every morning as a staff and putting a plan together. We're very excited about the opportunity to coach these guys in the summer league. We'll have 5 of our players on that roster. 6 will practice. It'll give us a head start, in my opinion, going into training camp. I've been in a lot of conversation with Jimmy. I went out and saw him out in L.A. Had great talks with him. He was back in Chicago this last week. Met with him on several occasions. Was in here in the gym when Jimmy was working out. I know he's excited about things right now, and about the upcoming year, and obviously with the Olympic team that he's about to start the training for. So sure, you go back, George, and you look at all the things that we're going to do, and hopefully get off to a great start.
Denzel, obviously your game took a big jump before you last season. Can you talk about what you did last summer? What kind of things you did to get to that point that you were at last season?
I pretty much just stayed the course, just kept working hard on things, on everything, my shooting, ball handling, getting a post game, mid-range game. So I pretty much just kept doing what I was doing. I just got more comfortable out there on the court, and the game slowed down, just kept slowing down and slowing down. So I just felt more comfortable, just kept working on things that I needed to, that's what happened.
Denzel, as you talk to Draymond and other guys you trust throughout the league, what have they told you about the Bulls?
I really haven't got to that. Draymond has been busy doing what he's doing and the USA stuff and all that stuff. So I really haven't talked much about that.
Fred, when was that meeting with Jimmy in L.A., and how much of that was just about, making sure that he is buying into the system and what you want to run?
Well, it was a couple weeks ago. I don't know the exact day. I went out there and met with several of our players. They're working out in Los Angeles. We talked about a lot of things. I won't give into the exact specifics that we talked about. But the biggest thing, with our group is, we need to play more consistent basketball next year. You go 7-1 against Toronto and Cleveland, top two seeds in the East, and you go 17-13 against the West, and we find ourselves out of the playoffs. That can't happen. We have to play much more consistent basketball. That's a big thing that not only talk to Jimmy but talk to all of our players about.
Denzel, how important was it for you to get your college degree? I saw that beautiful photo of you with your parents.
Oh yeah, it was very important. Going to a college like Michigan State and getting a degree. Not everybody can say they've done that. So, to go there for 4 years. Put that time in and into the studies and while I'm playing basketball and working hard in that end and still being able to get my degree, is very key for me, and I'm just happy I got it. Oh yeah, she played a big part in, holding me accountable throughout my time. Living at my home with holding me accountable with my studies and making sure I'm, getting my work done on time, and occasional calls to my academic advisor at Michigan State to make sure that I'm doing my business. But yeah, she played a big part in that.
Denzel, how closely did you follow the NBA while you were at Michigan State, and also do you have a favorite Izzo anecdote or memory from your time playing for him?
Probably my favorite memory of Coach Izzo is after we lost this year, obviously disappointing loss, and then end the way we wanted to, and I thought he was just going to be so mad and angry about the loss, and he handled it very well and just complimented me and thanked me for my time at Michigan State, and I was really surprised at that moment. And then what was your other question? No, here and then I was pretty much a college basketball player. College basketball watcher, because those were guys I was going to be playing against. But occasionally.
Denzel, they mentioned the duffel bags. What's your plan now? Are you here, or what's sort of the next week and next few days for you?
Yeah, I'm here for this week. Excited to get started. Get acclimated to the practice facilities and how things work here. Some teammates are here, so that'd be cool, hanging out with them and working out with them a little bit, and then get started with summer league practice next week.
Here on Thursday night, Gar told us this great soundbite from Tom Izzo. The specific quote was, "Some guys will or won't play hurt, and Denzel will play dead." So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, Denzel, and as well as from Fred too.
You just gotta do what you gotta do. Winning is key for me. So, and I hate letting my team down. So, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna give it my all. If I can go out there, no matter what happens, if I can play, I can play. If the only thing that won't let me play is if I literally can't. So, I don't know.
I think that's Gar said it best when he talked about Denzel being a warrior. He's going to go out there, he's going to fight. He's been in so many high pressure games in his 4 years at Michigan State, and for a guy that played in Final Four and went out there and just made big play after big play for his team, that translates. And he's been part of a winning culture and a winning program for a long time, going all the way back to high school, and that's huge. That's great experience for Denzel. I think. That will move on to his teammates as well. So yeah, he's gonna, if he can suit up, he's gonna play.
Fred, you might have touched on this earlier, but do you have any specific thoughts in mind and about how you would we'll be able to use Denzel on the floor with his versatility and take advantage of that?
Yeah, again, you can use him in a lot of different ways. He's a downhill guy, can get downhill and get into the paint and make plays. He can shoot. I love guys that, again, you look at a guy like Jimmy Butler, you get him the ball coming off of step-up ball screens, and if you have floor spacers, it's going to allow him to get into the lane and kick out for guys that can make shots, like Denzel, like Jose Calderon, like some of the other players that we'll have on our roster next year. In the same way, throw ahead, Denzel attacks. The more guys you can have that can get into the paint, obviously the better off you're going to be, and your offensive efficiency numbers should go way up. There's a lot of ways you can use Denzel. Smart player. I think you can put him on the block against some smaller players as well. You don't have to maybe have the pure point guard in there if you have multiple ball handlers, and that's a role where I know Denzel can fill.
Denzel, when the report came out right before the draft about some teams red flagging your knees, were you surprised at that? Did that worry you leading because it was so close to the draft? And other than the knee surgery, was there ever a point in college where you felt physically hindered?
It did kind of surprise me because I'm healthy now. I've only missed 4 games in college and a number of practices. I was surprised, but at the same time, I can control what I can control, and that's, just working hard and, letting the chips fall into place. So, I was a little surprised and a little angry that, people were texting me, asking me if I was hurt, and I was like, what? But, at the same time, I just control what I can control and let the chips fall into place. And I'm happy to be here, so.
Denzel, what kind of contact have you had, if any, with any of the current members of the Bulls thus far? And what are your impressions of Jimmy Butler's game from afar?
I've talked to Jimmy and Doug McDermott so far. They reached out to me, sent me a good text, and we've been talking back and forth a little bit. And, I like Jimmy Butler a lot. He's tough. He's not afraid to, compete and get after it no matter who he's playing against. I really like that out of him. And, he's really developed his offensive game and come to a really, if you pass him the ball, he's going to get a bucket. So I like playing with players like that. I get more assists. So, it'll be good playing with him and everybody. I played against Jaren Grant in college. We went at it, my junior year. So I'm familiar with him a little bit, and I think it's going to be a great year.
Gar, going into free agency, what specific positions are you looking to address?
Really, we're still in the process of putting our plan together. I think both in the front court and the back court, we'll look at some options and see what's out there. I think I mentioned, the first thing we'll want to do is talk to our own free agents, and they'll have options. We'll have options. Just get a feel. Etuan Moore is a guy that obviously has grown within our program and we think very highly of. But as I mentioned the other night, I don't know that anybody knows really what to expect with the spike in the cap, and I think it's going to be a pretty fluid period. With that said, we like the group, that we've put together, and I think we're headed in the direction I talked about the other day as far as beginning to get younger, more athletic, and retool this roster to a certain extent. So looking forward to getting these guys in the gym, and then we'll see what kind of opportunities arise once July 1 hits.
For Gar, what's the status of the assistant coaches? Is there any changes? Is anyone getting moved to the front office anywhere? Anything like that?
No. I think Fred's very happy with his staff and very comfortable with what they bring to the table. We've got a veteran staff, some experience on the staff. We've got a lot of really good energy. And I know they've been, like Fred said, they've been meeting, they've been working, get ready for Summer League, and then to have a plan together once we can come to camp in October.
Mindful of not committing too much money to long-term contracts because of summer 2017 having a headlining free agent class? Is that something that's a big consideration for you guys?
We've got to weigh everything that comes in front of us, and obviously, the cap will spike this summer, then it'll spike again the following summer, and then I think it'll start to flatten out. And I've always talked about, what we've got to keep in mind is not only short term but long term, and trying to put together the best plan for our team moving forward. So we've got to weigh those things as it begins. But obviously, we've got an eye on this year, but we've also got an eye on 2-3 years from now, and even 4 or 5 years out, as far as managing our cap and putting the best team together we can.
Fred, last week and before that, there was a lot of speculation about Jimmy being traded. Do you have to smooth over some feathers with him? Is he concerned? Did you have to kind of like help him understand why those rumors were about, and how do you coach him after that?
Yeah, I mean, again, Jimmy and I have pretty much been in constant communication since the season's been over. And, being able to sit with him face to face, talked to him on the phone 2 days ago, he's in a great frame of mind right now. And, his focus right now is obviously, as well as being on this team, is also with what he's going to do in representing Team USA coming up here. I believe meeting with the media in New York in the next few days, and then starting the training camp out in Las Vegas. The other thing you talked about was coming out and spending a couple days with our young guys out there, and I think that's huge for Jimmy. To be out there with the 5 players that are going to play. Doug is going to practice with our guys here as well. So just it's important. It's important to be around our young guys, and Jimmy, he's in a very good frame of mind right now.
Denzel, who's been the biggest influence in your life?
I don't have one, but pretty much my family, my immediate family, my dad, my mom, my brother, really. They just guided me always in the right directions. They always are there for me. Always know what to say, giving me the right advice, and they're pretty much there for me all the time. So those 3 people are the biggest influences.
Gart, assuming, I'll do the assuming for a moment, that Pau does not come back and Joe does not come back.
Mm-hmm.
Taj's got a year left in his contract, Dunleavy as well. How do you convince Bulls fans that you can put together a championship caliber team, one that can compete for the NBA title in, let's say, the next 3 or 4 years?
Yeah. Well, first of all, last week's trade, in looking ahead, we knew that Pau and Joe were going to have options. And I think that was part of the planning in making the trade, was getting a guy like Robin Lopez, who we feel is a very good starting center in this league. And if you look at his numbers and watch him play, is a high-level defender. So we were looking ahead some there. We're excited, about the direction we're headed. And that's why I said a week ago, I would say it's more of a retool and a rebuild, because we think we've got some young pieces to build around. And this last week was big for us. But you guys know we think Bobby Portis, Doug McDermott, Nico, even Cristiano Felicio have all got a chance to really develop, and that's a nice young core to start with. We add Denzel and Paul, who we drafted in the 2nd round. We've got 2 first-round picks, possibly a year from now with the Sacramento pick and our own pick. We're going to have flexibility not only this summer, but more importantly, next summer and into the following summer. So we had to look at this team, and I talked about the other day, we had a great run for 10 years. The last decade, we've got the best record in the Eastern Conference. We put together a group that we thought was highly competitive and probably had a chance to get to a championship level. The injuries obviously derailed us quite a bit, especially the last few years, and then last year, there were just so many of them. But we've got to put this back together now, going younger, more athletic, and building it back up, moving into the future. Right. Right. Right, and that's all 30 teams in the league. I mean, that's what you're looking for. And obviously we've got, a very high-level talent and an all-star player and we're very happy he just got named to the Olympic team, and an all-NBA defender in Jimmy Butler. We've got some young guys that need to continue to develop, and we've got the flexibility. So we'll continue to add to this roster over, not only this summer but the next few years, and continue to develop these young guys moving forward.